Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel and welcome to the first of the preview videos that we're going to be doing leading up to the 2026 elections across the UK in May next year. There's going to be a whole host of these. We're going to obviously we're looking at Wales today, but they're going to be looking at Scotland and looking at the English local council elections as well, including London, of course. So if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of this preview build up videos that are going to be coming over the next 6 months or so. But like I said, we're starting in Wales as promised, because this will be I'm certain one of the biggest stories of the night, if not the biggest story of the night. I think it'll be one of the biggest upheavals in British political history, certainly in modern British political history. And look, let's just have a quick history lesson. Wales, of course, has had its own parliament since devolution. The first election was in 1999. The Labour Party won that, winning the most seats. They almost won a majority in their own right, but not quite. They got 28 seats out of 60. And look, every election since then, so for over 20 years, every election, Labour have won. They have been the largest party, and then they managed to form a coalition government with another party, or in a couple of instances, been able to run off their own majority. So look, Wales has been solidly Labour for over 20 years in terms of the national parliament, but it's all going to be changing, as we know. We saw in Caerphilly a few weeks ago, the by-election there, how catastrophically Labour's vote share declined, and it's going to be a very bruising night for them, and we're going to look into it and see just how bad it might well be. Before we get into the main bit of the video, I was thinking about putting a little graphic on the screen to show the 2021 result, or maybe even the seats as they currently are in the Senedd, and then also a projection for what the seats might look like after this election in May. Let me know if that's something you want to see. The thing is, it won't be very relevant because the Parliament is changing, as we're going to talk about in a moment. But if that's something you'd like to see, let me know in the comments and I'll put it on for the next video as well. So this next part of the video is going to be talking about the changes, constitutional changes, I suppose, to how the election is going to happen and the Parliament. So if you're not interested in any of that, it's all timestamped below in the description. Click ahead to the bit you actually want to hear. But for those of you who are interested and want to know, we're going to talk about now just about how the Parliament is changing in Wales. So quite a big change coming. I'm not going to talk about the previous system because it, in my mind, was a bit confusing and it'll muddy the waters, but it's changing now. Wales is going to be split into 16 constituencies, of which you can see represented on the screen here as per the Election Maps UK Nowcast. So 16 new constituencies, and each constituency will elect 6 members, meaning that there will be a total of 96 members in the Welsh Parliament. So that's an increase of about 36. Currently it's 60 in the current Welsh Parliament. And they're going to be elected via a closed list proportional representation system. So what does that mean? So essentially, each voter, and if you're voting in Wales, this of course will apply to you, each voter has one vote, and you'll put your cross in the box next to a party. You're voting for a party in this system, not a candidate, which is a bit different to how we normally do things. Now, each party can nominate up to 8 candidates per constituency. Now, I'm just reciting this off of the Senedd website. I got it from their website. I don't fully understand why they can nominate up to 8 in a 6-seat constituency. If you understand that, please let me know in the comments because I don't fully get that, but that's the rule. So each party can have up to 8 candidates nominated in one constituency, and the parties will rank their candidates in the order that they are to be elected. And we'll go through how that's going to work in a bit. The votes will all be counted up, and then the seats are going to be allocated according to the D'Hondt formula. Maybe pronouncing that wrong. It's also known as the Jefferson formula because Thomas Jefferson came up with it originally, and then it's been revised in the 19th century. So what does that mean? Let's get into that. So the D'Hondt formula, this is the proportional part. Counting is going to go through 6 rounds until all the seats in each constituency are allocated. There's a bit of maths involved, but it is actually fairly simple. We're going to go through it all, and we'll show a demonstration in a minute as well because it makes it a bit easier. So essentially, the formula for this system, for this D'Hondt formula, is the total votes a party gets divided by the seats they have already won plus 1, and that's used for each party in each round of voting. So 6 rounds for each seat in each constituency goes through that formula. Now, as you probably figured out, the first round is essentially first past the post, because with that formula, total votes divided by seats won. Well, under the first round, no party has won a seat yet, so that's 0 plus 1 means the total votes are divided by 1, therefore you get the same answer. So the first round is essentially first past the post. Whoever wins the most votes in a constituency will win the first seat, guaranteed. The winner of the first round will then have their vote share their total votes halved in the second round, because their formula will now be total votes divided by 1 plus 1, because they've won 1 seat, plus 1 equals 2, so their votes will be divided by 2, which is half. And then the party that has the most amount of votes after each party's gone through that formula will win the second seat. Now, in most cases, that is going to be the party that won the second amount of votes overall. The only way that would be different is if the first party won more than double the second party's votes, in which case the first party came first would also win the second seat. But we're going to go through demonstrations, so this will all be much clearer in a minute. So like I said, the winner of the first round will have their vote share divided by 2 in the next round. If they then go on to win another seat later on, their vote share will then be divided by 3, because they'll now have 2 seats plus 1. Their total vote share will be divided by 3, and so on and so forth until all 6 seats are allocated. And like I say, the winner of each round is the party with the highest votes after each party has had its vote share gone through that formula as required. So, to demonstrate, we'll use the Caerphilly by-election from the other week. Now, bear in mind, this was done under first past the post, so this is not necessarily a representative example. It gives us a very recent election in Wales to use without me having to make up numbers. So we'll use this as a demonstration of how this would work had this been the result under this proportional system. So, as you can see on the screen, this is the result for the by-election. Plaid won 15,961 votes, which was the most of any party. Therefore, they win round 1. Now, moving into round 2, Plaid have now won a seat, so therefore we have to do their total votes, 15,961, divided by 1 plus 1, which is 2, and that now gives us their votes, total votes goes down to 7,980. Now, Reform now have the most votes, therefore, after Plaid's vote share is halved, therefore Reform win the second seat with 12,113 votes. Round 3, Plaid's 15,961 gets divided by 2 again, so that's 7,980 again. Now, Reform's also has to be divided by 2 because they've won a seat as well. So now their votes come down to 6,056. So Plaid have more votes. Plaid win round 3. For round 4, Plaid's total votes, 15,961, now get divided by 3. They've won 2 seats plus 1, divided by 3. So they now have 5,320 votes. And Reform's halved vote share is now larger. They have 6,056. And so Reform win round 4. And then you're getting the message. So round 5, we do the same thing again. Both now having their vote shares divided by 3. Plaid come out on top again. So Plaid win round 5. And then in round 6, Plaid's are now divided by 4. Reform still divided by 3. And Reform win that by less than 100 votes, actually. So Reform win round 6. So the result of this by-election, had it been done under this D'Hondt formula closed list proportional representation system, the result for Caerphilly would have been 3 seats for Plaid and 3 seats for Reform. And as you can see in this particular example, which again, it was first past the post, so people will vote differently according to this proportional system, but in this case, Labour, who came in third, didn't even get enough votes to get a seat. So it only was between, even with the maths and dividing the vote share as we went there, only Plaid and Reform ever had enough votes to win one of the seats. All right, heading back over to the Nowcast then. If you skipped the section of the video just there about the formula and the election system and all that, it is going to get mentioned during this part of the video because it is quite important. So if you start watching this and then you think I don't understand what's going on, just skip back to the start of the video and watch that first part there. So we're just going to go through some of the constituencies, most of the constituencies actually, and just see how close this election is. Like I said, the thumbnail is knife edge. It is very close between Reform and Plaid in the polls, and a lot of these constituencies can change quite dramatically with just relatively small changes in the vote. So we'll start up in the north. So in Bangor, and I have to apologise for pronunciation, by the way, guys. I'm going to do my best. You can laugh at me. Guidance is appreciated. I can't guarantee that after guidance is going to be any good. I'm rubbish at foreign languages. Feels wrong to call Welsh a foreign language, but any language it is in English, I'm not very good at. So I do apologise. I'm going to do my best. In Bangor, a swing. So you can see here, as it stands in the Nowcast with the vote shares, as you can see on the screen there, Plaid are winning 3 seats, Reform are winning 2 of the seats, and the Conservatives are going to win 1 seat up in the north of Wales there. But a swing of 6.8% from the Conservatives to Reform. Now, this is by no means the narrowest of margins on this list that we're going to go through, but it is actually quite a large one. But it's not unfeasible when you think that the Conservatives managed, what was it, 3% or something in Caerphilly? It was a very, very low percentage anyway. So it's not unreasonable to think that they could lose a decent chunk of vote share to Reform, even based off this. But let's just say 6.8% con to Reform would actually give Plaid 4 seats, because Reform would then beat the Conservatives in round 4, and Plaid beat the Conservatives by 0.1% in round 6, which would mean that Plaid would win 4 out of the 6 seats. So interesting, you see, this is what is interesting about it. Even a swing towards Reform, with Plaid having the lead that they have in this constituency, would actually benefit Plaid by winning them an extra seat over the Conservatives in that last round of voting after you've done all the dividing. So that's one example. One that is very close, and there's 2 here, and again, the areas of the country where Plaid are doing very, very well, in Gwynedd and Ceredigion. We're going to look at Ceredigion in a minute. Gwynedd, but the swing is the exact same. So a less than 0.5% drop in the Conservatives' vote share in both Gwynedd and Ceredigion is going to give Plaid again 4 out of the 6 seats, winning rounds. They win in both. Plaid would win round 1, 3, 4, and 6. So again, you can see that a drop in the Tory vote is actually going to benefit Plaid. And again, this is what's happening when you see these these votes being sliced and diced as you get further down the rounds in accordance with this D'Hondt formula. So that's Gwynedd. If we just click off that, and we go to Ceredigion, you can see the same thing there. And again, the seats would be allocated the same way. It's very, very similar. The Conservatives are just holding on here. You see, if you look at the quota number on here, this quota means essentially that's the minimum vote share that you would need to win 1 seat. So you can see the Conservatives are hanging in there at 12.2% in Ceredigion. So, like I say, less than 0.5% drop wipes them out. They will lose that seat. And Plaid, because they've got a decent lead over Reform, are the ones who benefit the most. So look, this is what I mean. Very, very slender margins can make quite significant differences to the overall result. Moving on, we go to Penny Bont down here in the south of Wales, just near to Cardiff. Now, this is interesting because you can see this is a bit more multicoloured than what we've seen just there. So you've got Reform obviously in the lead in the polls. They're winning seats 1 and 5. Labour in second, but about 10% behind. They're winning 2 and 6. And Plaid are picking up that 3rd seat, and they're just ahead of the Conservatives in 3rd place. But a swing of less than 1% from Labour to Plaid, with everything else being equal, Reform would win 3 seats, beating Labour in round 6 by about 0.3%. So again, you're seeing a swing from Labour to Plaid, but it would benefit Reform in this case. So this is what I mean. This is why it's very, very interesting. It's not necessarily beneficial to parties gaining a vote share. It can be beneficial to an arch rival, as we've seen there in Bangor, in Ceredigion, in Gwynedd, and here in Penny Bont on the opposite direction, going in favour of Reform instead. So there, Reform would win 3 seats, beating Labour in that last round. So Labour would only have 1, and Plaid would have 1. And of course, the Conservatives would still hold on to their seat as well. So that's another one that's interesting, this time in favour of Reform. If we go to Cardiff Taff, I'm going to call it Cardiff Taff, to do with the river, I would assume. Here, this is the one constituency in the whole of Wales where Labour actually have a lead to speak of. It's only just 1%, mind you, so it's very, very close. You can see there's a lot of vote share in this one, so a very multicoloured ward. The Liberal Democrats are only 1% away from meeting the quota to be in the race as well, and the Greens are featuring here. Look, this is going to be one of the areas I think the Greens might well do quite well. Inner cities, where they're putting Labour under pressure in England, wouldn't necessarily expect that to be any different in Wales. So look, here, a 5% swing from Labour to the Greens, which again I don't think is outrageous or unrealistic. A 5% swing from the Labour to the Green Party would give Plaid another seat and leave Labour with just one. Or a 10% swing, which may be a little bit more unrealistic in Cardiff, but who knows. 10% swing Labour to Reform would give Reform 3 seats, and the same result if you had 5 percentage points Labour to Plaid and 5 percentage Labour to Reform. Reform would also win 3 seats. So again, that second example in particular, you see, look, we saw in Caerphilly, Labour collapsed down to 11% of the vote. It's not unrealistic to expect this to drop another 10%, but obviously this is Nowcast. So this is using current opinion polling in Wales, but we've got 6 months to go yet, and I don't think that Labour have reached their floor. So I don't think it's unrealistic to expect Labour to drop more. And we covered there, the Green Party, I think in Cardiff, may well be a thorn in Labour's side, as well as Plaid and as well as Reform. So look, again, fairly, there's much more marginal ones than that, but fairly small vote swings changing the complexion of this election. In Pontypridd, then, again, we've got quite a multicoloured looking result currently on the Nowcast, with Reform, Plaid and Labour all winning 2 seats. But again, just a 2% swing, Labour to Reform or Labour to Plaid will give Reform 3 seats again, Labour losing out in round 6. So again, you can just see how at the moment Reform are winning sort of 2 seats in these multicoloured wars, but it's not much change in the vote share could give them 3 seats, which would be quite significant for the overall result in the end. If we go back up to the north of Wales, go to Clwyd, a swing of 2.5% here from Conservatives to the Reform Party would give Reform 3 seats again, beating the Conservatives in round 6. So a similar story of what we've just seen in the south with Reform and Labour. And again, look, a small, relatively small swing, considering the swings that we've seen in elections recently, of Reform's gains and Conservative and Labour losses. These are not, I think, unrealistic changes, even though this is a Nowcast at the moment. But 6 months away, like I said, there's plenty of time. Now here and I have to apologise, I'm going with Becheniog. I'm sorry if I've got that really, really wrong. That's what I'm going with. They're here, and again, another small swing. Reform already winning 3 seats here, with Plaid, Liberal Democrats, and Labour picking up the other 3. But 2% difference, or 2% swing away from Labour to Plaid, would keep Reform on 3 seats, but Plaid would get 2. Labour would lose their only seat here. So again, just a relatively small change is going to knock Labour out entirely in this constituency. Let's go to Rhondda, where down in the south again, where this time it's a 3% swing, Labour to Reform, or a 5% swing, Labour to Plaid. Again, I don't think they're unrealistic numbers, because you can see it's a 3-horse race here. So a 3% swing, Labour to Reform, or 5% swing, Labour to Plaid, will give Reform a 3rd seat, instead of the 2 that they're currently projected to get here. With, in either of those cases, Reform would beat Labour by 0.1% in the 6th round. And this is how close it is. Like, these small changes just leads to a 1/10% victory in round 6, and that's all that matters, essentially. Plaid would win round 2 and 5 in that instance, and Labour would only win in round 3. So look, again, just small changes as you go down through the rounds and all the vote shares start getting divided. If you could just have a little bit more, it makes a big difference. Let's go to Cardiff Penarth then, where again, quite a multicoloured looking ward. Plaid have a decent lead there, but there's a number of parties in the running to get a seat, including the Greens again in Cardiff. So Plaid currently projected to win 2 of the 6, and then the other 3 going 2 to Labour, 1 to Reform, 1 to Green. So here it's just a 1.5 percentage point swing from Labour to the Green Party would give Reform 2 seats. Labour would lose in round 6 in that case, and Reform would beat Plaid by 0.2% to win that 6th seat. Or a 1.5 percentage point swing from Labour to Plaid would give Plaid 3 seats. They would beat Reform in that case in the 6th round by a similar margin, 0.3%. So again, you see, look, just small changes in the vote share. Labour to Green or Labour to Plaid, not Labour to Reform, But Labour to Green would help Reform. Labour to Plaid would help Reform and give them a 3-seat constituency here in Cardiff Penarth. So it's all just sitting on the edge of this knife, and it's going to be interesting to see the opinion polls and how they change in the coming months, and to see what sort of changes to the projection that they make. Here's one of the closest ones actually. If we go to Gwir, sorry again, Gwir, where we've got it's a dead heat in round 6. So currently, Reform and Plaid and Labour all winning 2 seats each here, but the 6th round is a dead heat between Reform and Plaid. So a swing of just 0.5% would from Labour to Reform would give Reform a 3rd seat in round 6. So again, 0.5% Labour to Reform. That's not unrealistic by any stretch of the imagination for Reform to pick up another seat here in Gwir. Obviously, if there's a swing from Labour to Plaid, it wouldn't really make a difference because it would just increase Plaid's margin of victory in that 6th round. At the moment, it's pretty much a dead heat. Again, up in the north, if we go to look at Wrexham, here the Conservatives are just clinging on. You can see Reform winning 3 seats up here. Labour 1, Plaid 1, Conservatives 1. But the Tories are only 2.1% away from missing out on that quota, or 2.2% away from missing out on that quota. So if the Tories lose just over that 2%, then Labour will benefit here because Reform will win round 1 and 3 and 5. So instead of the same, but they'll win round 5 instead of 6. And Labour would win round 6 as well as round 2, assuming, of course, Labour were able to maintain that 22% vote share, which is by no means a given. But if they were, they would be the beneficiary. I assume, I didn't do the maths on this, but I assume if Plaid were to eat into Labour's vote share, it may well benefit Plaid. I can't remember what the margin of victory was for Labour in that 6th round. So again, look, it's not in 2 months, with 6 months to go, sorry, it's not unrealistic to expect the Tories to lose another 2% in these places. It's looking really, really bleak for the Conservatives in Wales, as you may have already noticed going through this. Right, the last couple we're going to go through. We are going to have gone through pretty much all of the constituencies here. So it's very interesting. I hope you get the gist that this is sitting very much on a knife edge. So here again, back into sort of the Midlands slash west of the country, where Plaid do very, very well. Another Plaid constituency. Sir Gaerfrithyn. I'm sorry. I'm really trying. Yeah. Anyway, Plaid look 43% out ahead, a decent lead for them, and they're only 0.2 percentage points away from winning that 6th round instead of Reform. So just a 0.8% swing from Labour to Plaid would win Plaid a 4th seat here. So you can see we've looked through all of these constituencies where they're coloured in Plaid in the west of the country. All of them, Plaid are very, very close to winning 4 seats, which is significant. To win 4 out of 6 seats in these six member constituencies would be very, very significant for Plaid, and they're very, very close in most of them to being able to do that. Like I say, just relatively small changes in vote share would do that for them. The last one we're going to look at is Torfan. So in Torfan, it's one of Plaid's weaker constituencies. As you can see, they're just about clinging on to that 6th seat, but they're bang on the quota to actually win a seat there. They're winning by 0.1% over the Conservatives in this constituency. So if the Tories can find a way to win back 0.6 percentage points from Reform in Torfan, they will knock Plaid out of that 6th spot, and they'll have 2 seats as well as Labour and Reform. Now, look, it seems unlikely at this stage. I can't really see the Conservatives increasing their vote share much, even if it is 0.6 percentage points. But look, there's a little bit of a good news story for the Conservatives in Torfan. Let's give it to them down there. Really, that's the only main change that can happen there, unless we're looking at larger vote swings away towards Reform. So look, we've run through all of the constituencies there in terms of how, and just going through the numbers and doing some of the maths and playing around with the numbers a little bit. And you can see that for a lot of them, very, very small marginal swings in voting can make a difference in this election next year. So look, we've got 6 months to go. We're going to have a few opinion polls between now and then, I'm sure. And this Nowcast map will change, and we'll come back and, as part of the preview series, we'll come back and look at this as and when it's appropriate to do so. Let's have a look and see. So the Nowcast is projecting, that map that we just looked at there is projecting Reform to be the largest party, 36. Remember, it's a 90-seat parliament. No, sorry, 96-seat parliament now. So you need 48 to have 50% of the seats. So you can see they're 12 away from that. Plaid would win 29 according to the Nowcast. Labour 20, Conservatives 8, Green 2, and the Liberal Democrats 1. So that's what the Nowcast says. Let's now take into account what we just said in terms of if the vote share moves this much, 1.5% here, 2% there, 0.5% there. Let's just see the difference that would make compared to this Nowcast. So if those vote shares change compared to this Nowcast between now and May, we say that it would be 41 Reform seats, 34 Plaid seats, Labour on 15, Conservatives on 3, Greens 2, Liberal Democrats 1. Now look, that's not a prediction. It's not a projection. It's just it's playing around with the numbers and just showing how small swings in the vote share in various of these constituencies can make quite a significant difference to the numbers. Now look, Reform there on 41. They're still a good 7 seats away from having even 50% of the seats. It's going to be very, very difficult for Reform to form a government in Wales because, I mean, even if they're going with the Conservatives in this case, the Conservatives aren't going to have enough to get them over the line. So it's going to be difficult for Reform. We'll see if the opinion polls change significantly and Reform start eking out a lead ahead. They may well start winning 4 seats in some of those constituencies the same way that Plaid is in the west of the country. But at the moment, they're really not really close to doing that. Reform in the constituencies where they're leading by some 10%, but not the sort of leads that Plaid have in those sort of in like Bangor, in Ceredigion, in Gwynedd, etc. So look, guys, that is it for this preview video. The main thing is it's going to be a huge night in Wales. It's going to be a catastrophic night for Labour. They have led the Welsh government for 20 years, over 20 years, and they're not going to be in a position to do that. They may well end up in government, but they'll be the junior member, which is something that we haven't seen. They're going to get hammered across the country. I think even in the unlikely case that there is a resurgence in Labour support over the next 6 months, I don't see them in a place to win the election like they have for the last 25 odd years. So look, whether it's close to the Nowcast that said, you know, there'll be about 9 seats behind Plaid, or closer to what we've said there, with those small changes in the vote share, with Plaid being about almost 20 seats ahead, we'll have to wait and see. But it's going to be a bad night for Labour. So look, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'm really excited about this preview series. I think the elections next year are going to be really quite significant. And look, make sure if you haven't already, please do subscribe, hit the notification bell. Next week, I think we'll look at London. We'll go through the London borough councils and have a look at what may go on over there. And of course, on Friday or Saturday, depending on my work, we'll have the by-election roundup for this week as well, the local council by-elections in England. There's a number on this week, 2 happening tonight, actually, on Tuesday night, unusually. So please do follow the channel, get involved in the comments, let me know what you think. Do you think those vote share changes that I talked about are realistic? Or do you think, it could be more dramatic or less dramatic? Do you think Labour will come back? Do you think I've been overly generous to Reform in some of my predictions? I think I have, in all fairness. Look, just let me know what you think in the comments. I'm always interested to hear what you guys think. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and I will see you on the next one.